weird. 0.0. We were for a while, which is kind of weird, but I don't know. It's not my game. Okay, let's go ahead and ditch this. Now let's reset this up. Come on. The game is so laggy, it's not letting me click on the... Oh, wait, I don't want to do that. I want to go forward orbits until we actually get in orbit. So, orbit plus. There we go. And then if we slow down here... And then focus on Eve. Now we have a nice equatorial encounter with Eve. Okay. And that's what I'm going for right now. Although we're coming in this way and going that way, so I think I'm going to go a little bit farther. Or a little bit less, actually. So that we come in this way, and we come around Eve the correct direction. And we're just going to have to live with the fact that it's a little bit off of equatorial. I really want to land as close to the equator as possible, just to eliminate all variables from the mix here. But that's in a year and 412 days. It's an 8-second burn, which is kind of funny. I don't know why it's funny, to be honest. While I'm waiting, I'm going to eat one of my olives that's been soaking in vodka for half an hour. Very tasty. Okay, that's good enough for me. Let's go 2 years into the future. Wow, this is taking a long time. Is like time warp affected by frame rate and it's not time warping as fast as it could? What if I go into map mode? Is that faster? Probably not. Yeah, that's crazy how much we are dogging the system down. You can't trust the system. Okay, let's go back to the Space Center. And let's time warp here. Might not be any faster, but it's at least smoother. I think we have one more full orbit after this one. Because our orbit should be less than a year, but not by too much. So, yeah, I was planning on quitting at midnight, which is an hour and a half from now. So, assuming Eve goes well, which I have absolutely no reason to assume that, I might even be able to get to Gilly tonight and get the ISRU running. which would be very nice. I would like that. Anybody still in the chat interested in Mercury tomorrow? It's crossing in front of the sun for most of the planet. Luckily, the people who can't see it are generally like the Pacific Ocean. There's also like Eastern Asia and Australia can't see it, but like all of the U.S. and all of Europe and like Russia and Africa, etc., can at least see parts of everything. I've never actually seen Mercury transit. I did watch Venus transit in the early 2000s. I don't remember when it was, 2004 or 5 probably. I watched it transit. I actually sent it through a telescope. And I think it's time now. Yeah, I watched it transit through a telescope and splayed it onto a piece of paper. I was up late into the night aiming my telescope at a light bulb. And I fiddled with the piece of paper until I could read the wattage on the light bulb through the telescope. And then once I had that, I knew I had the aim right. And then the next day I took a picture of Venus. It was pretty cool. Close the alarm and unpause. Let's actually just jump to the ship. I'm always afraid to do that from the tracking station because like 2 years ago that would crash the game. Okay, let's aim at this maneuver node, which actually should just be retrograde. So let's aim retrograde. The timing on this does not matter in the least. We could do it now, we could do it 20 minutes from now, we could do it 3 days from now, and we would still get what we want. So we can actually just delete the maneuver node. Check map mode. Make sure Eve is still our target, and then just by doing our burn, we will get this here. I want to burn retrograde, and it's passing by the prograde marker. We'll assume that it knows what it wants to do. Somehow our descending node is now -1. If I burn right now, I'll actually, I can actually affect that. And also turn faster. Guess I can't affect it very much. Yeah, it's actually going the wrong way. So I'll have to fix that over here. Because I'm a dummy. I know stuff. Because it's descending node, so we're coming south. So if we're aimed north, burning should have done that. Are we controlling from the wrong part? I bet we're controlling from the wrong part. I bet we're controlling from Jeb's capsule because the game's like, oh, ignore what you used to control from. Yep, we're controlling from the wrong part. When I left this ship, it was being controlled from here. That's where I wanted to control it from. When I came back, it said, oh, Jeb's a person. You probably don't know what you're doing, and I'll fix it for you. It's like my car. Okay, you know what? I can actually burn now, though. I'm going to burn until this flips. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I don't really care about the descending node anymore. I'll fix it. I'll fix it over here. burning really slowly, waiting for this thing to come around. Okay. Focus on Eve. Blah, blah, blah. It's actually pretty good already. And it's going the correct direction, which is important to note. Whoa, there we go. Okay, that's perfect. Periapsis 176. I'm going to leave that the way it is. I want my orbit to be 100 by 100 when the time comes. Now I need. Let's see. This is my path here that I'm taking. If I put a maneuver node here. Oh my God, the game's not letting me. Okay, thank you again. Have I mentioned how much I love Precise Node for allowing me to do this and then say last orbit? Of course, I need to go. Oh, it's not letting me do that. Precise Node, you suck. I'm lying. I love you, Precise Node. Yeah, here's this. So we need to go here and then go plus or minus orbit. I guess it wants me to drag it. Somewhere right about here is where we want to be. And then if we focus back on Eve, we want to make sure this is like perfectly equatorial, at least as perfectly equatorial as we can expect it to be. And that is pretty darn good right there. 10 meters per second, well spent. Mostly I want to get rid of the Eve ship so I get my frame rate back. All I want is my frame rate back. Is that so wrong? Oh. I clicked retrograde instead of maneuver node because I'm smart. Okay, that's close enough for me. Let's crank up the time. Okay, like before, timing really doesn't matter that much. So I'm just going to go here. As soon as we're looking pretty straight, I'm going to stop. I'm looking at it compared to the, oh, there we go. That's where I'm going to stop. I'm looking at it kind of compared to the ecliptic, but I don't know if it's perfect or not, but it's also 105, which is very close to what we want. So now we're going to put a maneuver here to get the mothership in orbit. And we are not going to screw around with no Yasmin Bleeth, with no, what you call it, aero braking. We're just going to get the mothership into a nice tight orbit, not quite tight, but elliptical. Then you'll see why I'm doing that soon, in 150 days. It's nice that it's right here where it's sunny, too. Okay, when Kerbal Longclock stops us here, I'll aim us at our maneuver node. There's Eve. I knew I'd find Eve eventually if I looked around enough. Is it really sad that I'm like looking forward to getting the Eve part done, not because it's the hardest part of the mission, but because my frame rate will be better when it's over? It's actually about to just get better in general now as we come in. Okay, 21-second burn is what we're looking at here. And I thought we were coming in on the bright side, but apparently I was just looking at it when he was on the other side of the sun orbit, but that's okay. That's why we have the ambient light mod installed. My poor frames. But that's why I waited for 1.1 to come out before I did this, and then 1.1.2 that fixed all the problems with 1.1, or most of them, because this ship just would not run in 1.0. There were too many parts. There was too much. I had to sum up. Okay, let's go. Let Jeb aim at his node here. And in 5 seconds or so, we will hit the gas. And done. Okay. Now we're going to leave the mothership where it is, and we are going to undock Jeb from, I guess, this side, because you can't do it to the other side. Now, Jeb needs to enable all his engines again. I probably should have checked. Okay, yes, all of the fuel tanks are full. That would be bad. Yes, we are absolutely full of fuel. We don't have very much monopropellant, but we don't need it. Actually, the monopropellant we have is going to be gone when we... like, we're not going to use it at all. So, let's activate 6 engines here. And we have to wait until our next orbit, which is good because it'll get us far away from our other ship. But we're going to burn ourselves down, if it lets me. Tell you what. This is why they invented Precise Node. We've got 1120, so I'm going to say minus 1,000. Which gets us in a nice orbit here, and we'll snap it to our periapsis just to make sure. And I hit M and Precise Node. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that's actually almost exactly a 100 by 100 orbit. That's pretty awesome. I'm going to wander away from the mothership. The butterfly effect, in effect, a tiny change in our initial velocities sends us well over 1 kilometer apart by the time we come back. 2 kilometers apart now. Which is nice because now he is outside of our sphere of influence and we don't have to deal with that freaking terrible aspect. Okay. Now, as I said before, we do not have batteries on this guy, or solar panels, I should say. So I'm going to turn off SAS, and I'm going to start the rotation and just let the ship rotate around. Okay, we've only got a few seconds before our burn starts. The engines also produce power, so let's aim at the maneuver node and hit the gas now. Let's actually aim retrograde. The engines, while they do produce... let's actually pump his pump level up all the way just to make sure we're using the correct pump level. Now this is a long burn. I'm watching the periapsis height. As long as it doesn't get below 100, I'm going to just let this thing burn. But if it does go below 100, I'm going to wait another orbit to start burning again. Did I F5? Nah, I haven't F5'd in a while. What could possibly go wrong? And I just realized that the Kerbal Engineer doesn't know how much fuel I have because this thing is being pumped with the fuel pump mod. So it actually thinks I have less delta V than I have, which is awesome, actually. It's going to make this a lot easier. Watch on my periapsis. When my periapsis gets to 100, that's when I stop. And it might jump to it really quick as my apoapsis comes down. Here we go. Okay. Now, next time we're at our periapsis, which is now here, we are going to again snap this to the periapsis and burn down until our periapsis and apoapsis swap. There we go. This thing's a lot easier to control now because it's a lot lighter. But that's the whole purpose of this whole fuel tank. This fuel tank's design is to bring him down to a 100 by 100 orbit, and also he must have a solar panel somewhere. He just got fuel, or he just got energy. I am really... Oh, no. There it is. There's a solar panel. Oh, that's right, because this is my... By the way, just so you know, this thing here, Mark 1 lander can, this is actually the mission. This has to land on every planet. And so I put the solar panels on it, so no matter what ship it was on, I always had solar panels. Oh my god, this frame rate is awesome. I didn't know what I was missing. Okay, a 5-second burn. Okay, 100 by 99. That is perfect. We are in a nice equatorial orbit, and now we need to land. And this is where the trajectories mod comes in.